and
Yes.
controversy and a lot of ugly noises. Same as this. This has gone a little bit to the crescendo. Football is also passionate.
Yes.
It's a game of passion.
Yeah.
And the judicial thing too was very sensitive. So it's understandable. I think that Anas himself anticipated some of these challenges, and it's good for our democracy. We should interrogate all the issues. I'm sure you want to ask me what I think about who
Yes.
watches The Watchman. I have to be honest, I didn't watch, but I was following the trend on social media. Then afterwards, after I'd finished watching my football, those things, somebody who watched, quite a very knowledgeable person in the legal world, who watched, came to give me a brief. So I have an idea. But of course, one needs to watch the entirety of what was shown to be able to do a more serious analysis of it. But you see, there's something that struck me. Before the showing of the documentary, there was a panel discussion, I'm told, which fitted into the whole of yesterday's thing. And I'm told they displaced this. This is supposed to be Justice Kwek's verdict or ruling. And if you don't mind, it says, in the High Court of Justice held in Accra on Friday, 11th day of October 2013, before Her Lordship, I'm sure that's a typo, Lordship Justice Mr. Charles Quest, Justice of the High Court, Accra, then suit number so and so. Then Randy says this: the Republic, plaintiff, versus Mohammed H. Abdallah, defendant. Under it says accused absent, accused counsel absent, Republic absent. By court, that's the ruling. The case is dismissed for want of prosecution. Then you have Justice Charles Quest's name down, and then it's titled down there, that on left-hand side is certified true copy from the registrar, High Court, Criminal Court, Law Court Complex. This is dated 27th June.
That was yesterday.
2018. Randy, my checks shows this is fake.
This document? It's been circulating on social media.
It's of dubious validity.
This document?
Yes. So this, the watcher of the watchman, takes off on a wrong footing. And I'm going to show you. First of all, this is supposed to be a criminal case.
Yes.
The Republic versus, I have the original, I'll show you.
Okay.
Then they say plaintiff. It's not said.
There's no plaintiff. Plaintiffs are in civil cases, yeah, not criminal.
There's plaintiff here.
Yes.
Then only one accused, Mohammed H. Abdallah. That's the Hafiz guy. Defendant. That's again out. No serious criminal court will take this on board. This is of dubious or doubtful validity.
Right.
Now, if you go for all the processes, the proceedings, fortunately, we've got the docket now.
Okay.
So a lot is going to happen. You're going to see all the evidence proper.
Okay.
Now, this is an attempt, if this thing I've just shown as dubious,
Yes.
is to prove that, one, Anas was compromised monetarily, and he used that influence to get the case terminated. Is that not so?
Right.
In favor of those who are now accusing him.
Yes.
That's significant. Randy, the proper thing, all the proceedings, record of proceedings, this is how it is, and I have 3 copies of them here. It's the same thing, the court, that what I read, there's no need to repeat them. Sitting was Justice Charles Quest, sitting as the High Court judge. Now, this is the one, what is the authentic. This is what it says. The Republic versus 1, Mohammed Hafiz Abdallah. The name H, the H is, the initial H is written properly. It's Hafiz. There is no Mohammed H. Abdallah. Okay. By the court proceedings and the docket and the documentation. Right. Then Mubarak Seidu, number 2.
So there's another.
There were 3.
Okay.
Mohammed Seidu, and then Prince Kingston Kwame. He was at large throughout the proceedings. Okay? And then, of course, the state attorney, Ellen, and things, they are all here. The key point I'm making is that what was displayed yesterday on the screens as part of the panel discussion before the documentary, that document is fake. It's out of the desperation of some people to nail Anas or to undermine his integrity. They start off. Their desperation led them to fabrication and manufacturing a document that is supposed to be a public record, judicial record. So we are going to watch the watcher of the watchman. Now, and a lot later on, I'll send them to your WhatsApp. So straight away, there's a problem there. But we have to ask ourselves, was what was shown, did it come with evidence of Anas being compromised? Did it come with evidence of Anas manipulating the system in order to secure the verdict that went in favor of those guys? Was it? Did you see?
I didn't watch. What I read from those who think that it has, they make pointers to the fact that Anas admits that he took 100,000. That Anas himself says that he gave 75,000 to a former CID boss. That the state attorney or prosecutor who Anas was dealing with said that they all have to make money or chop or something.
Yesterday morning, I made this point clear. If you have a limited and distorted appreciation or understanding of something you read or hear or see, that's what will happen. The portion, and fortunately, they were saying the lady, the state attorney, is dead. She's not dead.
She's alive?
She's alive. So I'm sure she'll come on board as time goes on. They buy me with 100,000. Anas was not attributing it to himself. He was doing a narrative. They were doing pre-trial conference.
So it was a pre-trial conference?
Yes, at the office of the Attorney General.
And what he was doing, and in fact, he published some of those things in the New Crusading Guide, then Crusading Guide. It was in reference to what Baba Tunde, who was not accused, but was one of their guys. He was the one that Anas was narrating his story through the state attorney. So he said that attribution was to Baba Tunde and not to Anas. But you see, if you have a limited and distorted understanding, you will go in that direction, but especially if you are driven by malice and mischief. But you see, fortunately, all the stakeholders appear to be alive, including the Justice Quest, including the Frosteds. Baba Tunde, I'm not sure where he is. I'm told Mubarak is alive because he tried to contact me recently, though he didn't show up. Hafiz is alive. He's been talking. So my view, to be honest with you, is that perhaps, in view of all what they are saying, this case must be reopened. I'm not sure, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not sure whether it can be opened in the same manner with all the elements on board, especially without the complainant. But you see, new angles have come. There is an allegation of Anas manipulating the judicial system, compromising officials of the Attorney General's department.
And the police service.
And the police service. Those elements can be investigated within the context of reopening, without necessarily seeking the collaboration or the presence of the complainant. I don't know if I'm making legal sense, but my feeling tells me it can be done. So I think that the way forward is to actually reopen this case with an eye on alleged manipulation of the judicial system, alleged compromising of state attorneys, and the police officers, for us to come to the bottom of this matter. But I can assure you, one, whatever was shown, Hafiz makes an allegation of having given $50,000 to Anas. This is supposed to have been somewhere 2009 or 2011. The judgment was 2013. You know how cases run. But he busted them 2009. Now, 2013, let's assume, that's when the manipulation took effect. So that's where perhaps they paid, they claimed they paid the money. I've been asking myself, assuming, people shouldn't get me wrong, assuming that he did them that favor. They claim they are free today because he took money from them and compromised the system. And yet they are those after him. It doesn't make sense to me. He did them a favor, assuming, even though it's not true. But he's made allegation on radio and on television. He doesn't give any evidence. But he's made an allegation. Perhaps it's useful. Thankfully, he's alive. So maybe he should help the security services with the further and better particulars of how he gave the money to Anas, when and where. That's fair. Mubarak, having heard, but he's supposed to have given Anas 50,000. Anas denies it vehemently. Mubarak, thankfully, is alive. He also can help the process by giving the security services the information. When, where, and how did you pay Anas $50,000? Now I heard Kennedy Agyapong suggest that Baban today is the one also who gave Anas 100,000. Baban today, I'm not sure where he is now, but I pray to God he's alive. He too can be contacted to bring his information. The truth of the matter is that Anas denies all this. Now there's the point about $5,000. Again, it comes back to the limited and distorted understanding. I read on social media that the woman was asking, where's my $5,000? Or did you put it in my account? There's nothing like that. The woman, they were doing pre-trial conference. Don't forget the people were transferring monies around. That's why Egbert's name even came in. He was a lawyer for Omega Security Services. So he was at the bank. They were tracking. There was an element of money laundering involved in this thing. So the 5,000 was a question of trailing where a 5,000 amount had been sent to, not the woman's account. And she was not asking for money. When she says we all like money, it's the general statement about the nature, the greed of Ghanaians in that scam. The woman is alive. She's one of the most credible state attorneys ever. Very strict, very direct. And you dare not play games with her. And that was the process. They were going through a process in the office of the Attorney General to present a case to court. I'm told on the screen when Anas and the lady are looking at the video, because they were looking at the evidence, and Anas was doing the narrative based on the video that he had presented to them, the audio-visual evidence he had presented to the state. And so then they put there the two of them are conspiring. No. The woman wanted a better and deeper understanding of the case. He wanted Anas also to establish the case properly based on the video for presentation to court. And when the docket is publicized, the court proceedings, Anas was put in the dock by the state attorney. He gave evidence. And then when you put all together, you will realize that it wasn't possible for the evidence he delivered in court to help the state, for him to be the same person to kill that case. So this matter is not going to be left on the screens of TVs and airwaves of radio. I appeal to the IGP, to the Attorney General, that they should reopen aspects of this case and get Anas, Hafiz, Mubarak, Kennedy Agyapong, Justice Quest, even though I'm told it's not too well. But if you look at the thing I showed, it's fresh because this was procured, certified true copy, only yesterday. And the question is, did Justice Quest sign? There are people who say, he says, Kennedy Agyapong has been saying it, that he's got stroke, he's not able to do anything, he's dying and all the rest. So he too should be brought in for us, and we should begin with this so-called certified true copy ruling that Justice Quest is supposed to have given, and bring all those persons on board. Otherwise, nothing at all has been established against Anas.
Now, there is something, you know, you spoke about allegations that some people went on TV, some people made allegations and all that. Yesterday, we discussed something here in a bit, and I want to raise the issue. In this particular case, a former boss of the CID stands accused.
That aspect too, I'm not too sure. Well, others have accused.
That's the point I'm making.
Okay.
He stands accused. And therefore, even the integrity of the police service, because at that time he was holding office, a key office.
Yeah.
And he stands accused of having collected monies to manipulate a case. The Attorney General's office stands accused.
Yeah.
You are even referring to a document that you say is fake, is fictitious, has been fabricated for a purpose. Look, as far as this whole aftermath of number 12 is concerned, look, the issue of J.B. Dankwa's killing has been resurrected. A person makes an allegation about a person at the Flagstaff House or whoever who's supposed to have some knowledge about the murder. Same person goes on to say that Anas is responsible for that murder. Same person says that the BNI is granted Anas access. The last time we were speaking about the latest statement made by the guy who is on trial in the JB Dankwa thing, to the effect that some people in the MPP hired him to say that it was the NDC. Now, an allegation has been made that Anas has been granted access by the BNI to go there and then go and convince or manipulate this person, accused person standing trial, to go and say what he said in court, at the magistrate court, and that he was even going to mention the name of this member of parliament as the person who is responsible for that particular accusation. So the whole BNI, or the hierarchy of the BNI, grants access to a journalist. That is the allegation that has been thrown out there. Another member of parliament who's no longer in parliament has said publicly on TV about what he knows, what he saw on CCTV and everything. Now, it looks like nobody is interested, and these are issues that border on an ongoing criminal trial or investigation. And anybody can just say anything they want. And the security agencies and investigative bodies seem unconcerned about these issues.
Yeah, I recall last Saturday you actually were very passionate about this point. And it's about time we get to a situation where people who make allegations of this nature are given the opportunity to actually clarify and substantiate. It helps. It's a healthier approach than just leaving it untouched and uninvestigated. You see, who watches The Watchman, in terms of the documentary, I was trying to draw a line of the extension between that and the other allegations, even though it's coming from the same source. And you are right, there's no need to underestimate it. Mr. Agyapong was the first person who cast an innuendo against a presidential staffer in the Mahama administration. And it went viral on social media. People then mentioned some names, went running with it left, right, and center. The same man subsequently fingers Anas as the one who is behind this. I have made a point before he did. No, it was after him that Daniel Asiru, the suspect, the murder suspect, also comes to say that it's rather the NPP, which, Randy, I have to be honest with you, I'm very candid about these things. It's complete rubbish. That's my view. I think it's coming from nowhere. It's just been thrown in as one of those distorted things. That doesn't mean I'm not asking for it to be investigated. No. Because if we put all the three together, the one that accused the presidential staffer in the Mahama administration, the one that accuses Anas, and the one that is talking of MPP, and The fourth leg being that, oh, BNI has given access to Anas to go and get a guy to implicate MPP. I find that interesting that it is coming from Mr. Agyapong. You see, Mr. Agyapong is a member of parliament. I'm sure perhaps he was J.B. Dankwa's close friend. After all, they belong to one party. You know, the day J.B. Dankwa was murdered, the police went to the crime scene to try and condone the place and do investigations and things. Mr. Agyapong went there that dawn. He was there. He went, I've seen the police report way back. He went and embraced some of the family people. The police then, I think it was, the police commander, Dampari,
yes.
Yeah, it's him. He was then in charge. He was the Greater Accra Regional Commander. So he asked the family whether Kennedy Agyapong was part of the family. I'm not sure he knew who Ken was. And they said no, he wasn't. So he went and told Ken to leave. When Ken was leaving, he tried to go to the backside of the house, which was also considered as a crime scene. So the police had a confrontation with him, and he left the place angrily. Now, my analysis of it is that no, that's a member of parliament. That was his colleague who had been murdered. He felt so concerned to go there to sympathize with the family. In the process, he thought the police were unfair to him, so he left angrily. But it appears that he has been a constant factor relative to this matter in terms of the innuendos, insinuations, allegations, everything. And he is yet to produce anything of evidential value. He's accused almost everybody there. Now, it comes to the murder suspects say, oh, MPP as a corporate entity, which is a meaningless and useless thing to say, recruited me to do that. And it is Mr. Agyapong who comes to say that, no, Anas has gone to coach the man to say, I should be mentioned. What's wrong? What signals is he sending out there? I think that this matter should be investigated. Did BNI give access to Anas to go to that restricted place to deal with the murder suspect without anybody recording? Because it's a policy, it's a standing order. If the guy gets a visitor, there must be another officer there. Whatever they discuss must be, even if it's his lawyer. Sometimes it's the lawyer that you give some little space, client-lawyer confidentiality, sometimes.
If you ever went there to be recorded?
Yes, at least your presence is recorded. The purpose is recorded. Dependent on circumstances, even the conversation is recorded. And then a report is made on it and signed by the relevant or appropriate officer. So it should be checked. I think Anas is too good to engage in total rubbish of that nature. What interest does he have? After all, he's been accused of being the suspect. He's filed a writ against Kennedy Agyapong. One of the issues in court for determination is this case. So what else does he need? All he needs is to clear himself. He doesn't need to implicate anybody. If he wants to implicate somebody, it will be based on investigation he's done with the findings handed over to appropriate state authorities. Then it will be pointing at Mr. A or Mr. B. But he hasn't done that. He hasn't investigated this matter. He has no interest in it. But you see, Randy, because of the history of how sometimes we politicize some of these murders and things and the trend, that's why I have developed a very, I said skeptical, but people say I should rather be say cynical towards these matters. You recall Ebokwansa, the serial killer, the murder of women. A similar thing happened, if you recall, 2003. Government even set up a committee to investigate the possibility, the allegation that he was being coached in prison to come out and say there was NPP elements. And this was after Mr. Rawlings had made his allegation, if you call, of senior 15 cabinet ministers. The gentleman went to the prison's authorities and said, look here, earlier on, Mr. Rawlings had said I was a madman. My mental faculties had gone in disarray. Then two, he says he knows they're killers. So if that's the case, it means I'm innocent. So I wanted to appeal to send a petition to President Kufuor for my release. And then they told him that, oh, that's not the procedure. If you want, then there are legal aid people who will come in here and then you can deal with them so that you send a petition to the Chief Justice. 2007, I don't know if you recall that there was a recorded so-called confession of this gentleman, which was put on air, also making the same case of MPP elements were those who recruited him to do the killing. You recall Roko Frimpong. The whole state went to court to claim that Roko Frimpong's death was politically executed. I think you recall that, you know, and it ended up with X in the face of the Attorney General of that period, you know. So I have done a study of these cases and the kind of allegations that people make. I think even Adams, not the Upper East regional thing, the same thing happened. Fingers were pointed at Kweku Baako and Kennedy Agyapong, incidentally by Kennedy Agyapong. He even claimed that the two of them were organizing to assassinate him, if you recall.
Yes.
Yes. So you see, it gets messy. We over-politicize these matters, and that is the way the police then is neutralized. But I think the Ghana police should wake up.